To make his maiden speech, Alex Sobel.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and congratulations on your election. I'm grateful for the opportunity to make my contribution to this honourable House by participating in this debate. Following the witty and on-point maiden speech from my honourable friend for Croydon Central and the contributions from my honourable friends for Lewisham West and Penge and Barnsley East. Before I do, however, I'd firstly like to briefly speak to my own constituency, Leeds North West. As anyone who has visited could tell you, it is a place that defies easy description. Other honourable members of this House have previously claimed to the most varied constituency, but I would like to stake a claim myself. The constituency starts in inner city Hyde Park, where we have a vibrant cultural and music scene, including the legendary Broodnell Social Club. Where only a few weeks ago, my honourable friend, the member for Islington North, gave a speech to 5,000 people. People who climbed trees and stood on rooftops to feel part of our movement. We then move on to Headingley, with its world-renowned sporting pedigree, the legendary stadium and cricket ground, home of Yorkshire County Cricket Club, to this day the most successful county championship team, and also a place where I've spent many happy afternoons since my days as a student. Weetwood Ward, where I make my home, has a fine literary tradition. Once the home of Tolkien, in a towered residence in West Park reminiscent of Minas Tirith, now home to many other creative figures, including award-winning television writer Kay Mellor. Across the Ring Road, Adel is a setting for the Grade 1 listed Church of St John the Baptist, one of the best and most complete Norman churches in the country. My constituency also boasts Yorkshire's International Airport in Yeadon, and Otley, with its amazing breadth of events hosting hundreds every year, from the fabulous Otley Show to the authentic Victorian Fair. Between the market towns of Yeadon and Otley lies the beautiful upland Chevin, from which the foundation stones of this very house were hewn. So Leeds North West provides the very foundation of our parliamentary democracy. My first experience of this place was 20 years ago, when I came as an executive officer of Leeds University Union to lobby Leeds MPs about the retention of student grants and opposing the introduction of tuition fees, an issue I intend to pursue in this Parliament. I met with Harold Best, the only other Labour MP to represent Leeds North West, who not only agreed with me on the issue of fees, but spent the afternoon showing me the Palace of Westminster, reflecting his great generosity spirit, a generosity spirit which he and his family continue to show me to this day, and one I wish to replicate now in this place, having a family of my own. My immediate predecessor served in this place for 12 years. During that time, he became champion of a number of causes, not least of which was support for rugby league and his role as chair of the all-party parliamentary rugby league group, championing a sport which is of great importance to our local area. Greg was also a strong advocate for pubs, not just locally, but across the country, and for local breweries, having served as chair of the all-party Save the Parliamentary Pub Group and executive member of the all-parliamentary beer group. Greg Mulholland was a hard-working local MP, filling the intentions made in his own maiden speech to this House. My honourable friend, the member for my namesake seat, Bristol North West, rightfully claimed to be the first Darren in this place. I can with great certainty say I'm the first Sobel to be elected to Parliament. My own parents arrived in this country in 1972 and couldn't imagine that their son, born at the Leeds Maternity Hospital, would one day enter the Mother of Parliaments. My own history in Leeds North West starts like so many of my fellow constituents, as a student at one of the city's fine universities, and it was at university that my interest in fighting for justice and equality began, as staff student representative for the School of Computing at the University of Leeds, first advocating for my fellow students before going to campaign on issues such as student funding and against racism on campus. I'm still an elected member of Leeds City Council, and prior to my election here, I was the lead for climate change and chair of the Affordable Warmth Partnership, two topics that are close to my heart and to which I'll return shortly. I turn now to the substantive issue of the debate. In doing so, I'd first like to echo the words of honourable friends and honourable members who have already spoken on this devastating event, and expressing my heartfelt condolences and sincere sympathies to the victims of the Grenfell fire, their families and the people of Kensington. I pay tribute to the emergency services who responded so rapidly and bravely, and to my honourable friend, the member for Kensington, and all the volunteers who supported families in the aftermath of the fire. That so many lives have been lost was a tragedy that defies description. On the Sunday following the fire, I visited the only tower block in my constituency and ensured that tenants felt safe in their homes. Leeds City Council have confirmed to me that no aluminium composite material cladding has been used council-owned blocks of flats in Leeds. But I've been approached by constituents that live or work in other types of clad buildings and hope the Minister will be taking action to ensure testing is done on all cladding in this country, working with and compelling the sector representative bodies and building owners to undertake testing, that the testing of cladding is fully addressed in the inquiry. Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm sure that all members of the House agree with me on the need for urgent action on safety, but I would also like to address the use of cladding as part of our wider aims to reduce carbon emissions and to reduce fuel bills, tackling fuel poverty. In my constituency, a wholesale programme of external wall cladding insulation started, but then stalled due to cuts in eco-funding, leaving one side of the road with cladding and the other side of the road without. External wall insulation, whether using mineral wool, phenolic resin or other materials which meet building regulations and have a U value of 0.3, contribute to eradicating fuel poverty and to meeting our obligations under the Paris Climate Change Agreement. We must ensure this work is completed alongside other measures, not just in housing, but transport, energy and manufacturing, to ensure runaway climate change doesn't occur. But the safety of our citizens is paramount, so we must also ensure that our standards and inspection regime are amongst the best in the world. In the words of President Obama, no challenge poses a greater threat to future generations than climate change. This chamber is a stage where the world can hear our voice. It is incumbent on me to use that voice to ensure that whilst I sit on these benches, I'll speak truth to power and be an advocate for this one issue which will define the shape of our future more than any other. Action to combat climate change will give us the best possible chance to save this planet, as it's the only home we've got. Without ensuring that we take every step towards a carbon-free future, we will be judged as having failed future generations, and I'm sure nobody came into this house to be a failure. There will be many other local and national issues I'll raise in the House concerning our market towns, universities, sporting and cultural institutions, transport links and technology. But for today, I thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, for allowing me to make my maiden speech. And I pledge to my constituents and to honourable members to be a strong voice in this House, as well as a powerful advocate for my constituency.
Karen